A Yule log, also known as bûche de Noël, is a staple dessert around the holidays, and this lemon meringue version puts a fresh twist on the classic. Let's start by making the lemon curd filling. Combine 3 eggs with half a cup of granulated sugar in a large saucepan. Add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and continue mixing until incorporated, then you can pour in the juice from 3 lemons and mix again until it's all combined. Place the saucepan on the stove over medium heat and whisk constantly until the mixture thickens significantly. At this point, turn the heat off and add 25 grams of butter. Stir it again, allowing the residual heat to melt the butter until it's fully incorporated. So that's it for the lemon curd. It just needs to cool down in a tightly covered bowl while you prepare the other components. Speaking of, the next component is the sponge cake, which you can make by first beating 3 egg yolks and 1 whole egg in a large bowl. Make sure you save the egg whites though, you'll need them later. Add a 1/4 cup of sugar and continue whisking until combined, then add 3/4 cup of flour and mix again until you have a smooth batter. To a separate bowl, add those 3 egg whites I mentioned before and 1/4 cup of sugar. Then use an electric mixer if you have one to whip the eggs until stiff peaks form. Of course, if you don't have an electric mixer, you can just use a regular whisk, but be prepared for a workout. Once whipped, add the egg whites into the cake batter gradually. Make sure to be very gentle as you stir them in to avoid losing all the air you just whipped into the eggs. After the third and final batch of egg whites, your batter should be light and fluffy and the color will be significantly paler. Prepare a 9 by 13 inch baking sheet with parchment paper or a non-stick baking mat. Then pour and spread your batter evenly over the surface. Since the cake is so thin, it only needs to bake for 10 minutes at 350 degrees. Then once it is cooled enough to touch, flip the cake onto a clean kitchen towel. Now carefully roll the cake into a log. Doing this while it's still warm helps to prevent the cake from cracking when you fill and roll it later. Wrap the towel around the cake to hold its shape while it cools, and in the meantime you can prepare the final component, meringue. For this, you'll just need 2 egg whites, 1/3 cup of sugar, and that electric mixer again. Like before, whip the egg whites and sugar until stiff peaks form and they look glossy. And now we're ready to assemble. Carefully unroll the now cooled sponge cake and generously spread the lemon curd filling nearly all the way to the edges. Once you're happy with the coverage, re-roll the cake carefully to avoid cracks. But don't worry too much if it does crack, since the next step is to pipe on the meringue, which will cover any imperfections. If you don't have a piping bag, you can just spread the meringue over top, then use a heat gun or blowtorch to gently brown the outside. And your Yule log is done. Happy holidays everyone, and enjoy! Also guess what? We wrote a book! Click the link in the description to get your copy.